All right, so our first important point here is I'm going to die and there's nothing I can do about it. And because of this, there are many things that really don't matter. And actually, this should really come as a relief, because not only do the silly anxieties not matter, but nor do the mistakes that you ruminate about, nor do some of those regrets that you fixate on, nor does the blame that you inflict upon yourself, that you inflict upon others. A lot of this doesn't matter too, so phew, right? Okay, again, more perspective. Now, the second thing that comes from this confronting death or mortality, this death anxiety, is that we are also left to really wonder about what does really matter. And that's very important, perhaps more important. We've cleared room in the psyche there for what really does matter. Okay, so this is almost like a kind of a existential inventory of sorts, and it begs questions of us. So if all that stuff really doesn't matter, what does? What does living and loving well look like for me personally? That's the question. Personally, with my personal history, with my personality, the work that I do, the family that I have, my triumphs, my regrets. We can take a minute now and we can wonder, in the face of the fact that I will die at some point, what really matters to me? What do I want to do? What do I want to leave behind? What do I want people to know about me? What do I want people to remember about me? What do I want to correct or change right now? That's the big stuff, isn't it? And I think really it does put things into perspective, puts into perspective all these kind of goofy things that we do, right? Like our husband from the film having his affair, his crisis of identity, because really what's happening is he's approaching death. He's getting older, he's leaving behind another time in his life, and he's moving nearer and nearer to this new phase where he has to confront his own mortality. It's unknown, it's scary, but as this wise wife knows, nothing much good is going to come from avoiding this, okay? So she's challenging him on this. This has to be taken head on, she is saying. And as the film moves on, there is another confrontation between the two of them, quite beautiful really. And they're again, towards the end of the film, they're sitting at the table, and she says simply to him, I want you to stop seeing that woman. Ah, okay, it's out there. She has said it, okay? So they're acknowledging that there is an affair occurring. All right. And initially, he kind of gets ready to defend himself, and he kind of puts his hand on the table, ready to sort of deny it if you want. And he stops, and he kind of sits back, and he's quiet for a moment, and he says, okay. Then there's a very long silence, and they're both very quiet. And she says very simply to him, I love you. And he's quiet, and he looks at her, and he says, I love you. Okay, now, what's the instructional piece in this? Why is this so striking? What does it mean in terms of what we're talking about? What I'd like us to take away is that in this exchange, there isn't so much as an ounce of energy wasted on the neurotic. Okay, that's the important point. We're not talking about affairs, right or wrong, or the moralism of them. We're talking about neurosis versus being existentially orientated. Not a drop of energy is wasted on the neurotic, at least from this wife's perspective, okay? So there's no time wasted with fighting, there's no time wasted with punishing, there's no time wasted with ruminating, okay? She is using all of her energy to go straight to the heart of the matter, all right? And here in this final moment, the husband can receive this, he recognizes this, and he's valuing it. She is saying to him, I love you, that's the most important thing, and we're both going to die. Is this what you really want? Now, the agony of this between them, right? We can almost kind of feel it, it's palpable. And of course, if this were real life, there will be points where the wife will have pockets of bitterness and the husband will have pockets of regret. That will all be normal. No doubt it's not entirely over. Real matters of the heart linger, for sure. But the most important thing here is that they are both existentially oriented, existentially in order, if you want. This is what the existentialists kind of call limit situations, okay? existential moments. It's as if someone or something says to us, this is it. Is this what you really want? Do you really want this affair? Do you want to work 70 hours a week? Do you want to distract yourself with this bad habit that you have? Do you want all this stuff that you don't use? Do you want to have this type of relationship with your children? Do you want to have this type of relationship with your spouse? Do you really want to ruminate about something that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago? Right? Is that what you really want? Oh, what's the answer? No? Okay. What do you want then? If that's not what you want, what do you want? And that was what the wife was trying to do for her husband. Rather than neurotically fighting about the details, she's simply saying, is this what you want? This is not what I want. Is this what you want? But this isn't an easy situation, is it, if you really think about it, if we really tune into it? Because if the answer is no, if we're saying, no, this isn't what I want, and this is what existential angst really means, well, what am I going to do about it? That's the next point, isn't it? That's a burden. That can be intimidating. If I'm not going to be kind of seduced by that existential angst and into that place of, well, really, what's the point? It's too late now. I made a mess of that kind of thing. What am I going to do then? Am I going to say things to myself like, oh, it's too late? Or, oh, I really messed that all up? Am I going to get fixated on blaming other people for where I'm at right now? Or am I going to do something different? Something tiny sometimes even something just symbolic. Something that puts me existentially right again. And something, and here is the key word, something meaningful. Something that says to myself and the world, these are my values, this is who I am, and so this is what I do. People mistakenly think that because they can't go back and undo it all, undo these things, that it somehow no longer matters. And it's the opposite. It matters even more. And all of this that we're talking about, of course, this is different from feeling good. This is different from being happy. This is different from having fun. This is about meaningful choices.